my story, I want to take you to Brazil, because this is a story that kind of weaves together everything that I've said tonight. And my daughter and I went there in the year 2000. We went there because the city government of the fourth largest city in Brazil had run on the platform of food as a human right. And we wanted to go and see what it looked like to be in a city where food was a human right. And we got to the city and we realized, as we talked to the coordinator of what was going on there, that it wasn't like, oh yeah, food is a right, so therefore we're going to make the soup lines longer and have more food give-outs. They, in a very living democracy motif, they brought together small farmers and large farmers and institutions, universities, hospitals, and citizen organizations and religious organizations, and they came up with literally dozens of schemes to make the market honest, to make the market free, as I said, free so that we could all participate in it. For example, they had small plots of city-owned land that were unused. And they said to the local organic farmers, hey, come use this plot of land if you will keep the price of food in the reach of the poorest people. They, keeping the marketplaces and the supermarkets honest, they posted in bus stops and announced on the radio, where are the cheapest of the 45 food commodities, where can you find the cheapest? So there couldn't be the kind of price gouging that you get in this country where the poorest pay the most for food. And on and on and on. And so at the end of our visit there, our jaws were dropping at what we were witnessing. And so, of course, I wanted to follow this story after I got home. So this last year, I went back and I said, okay, what happened in Belo Horizonte as the result of food as a human right? And this engaged approach of mutual accountability, everybody stepping up and coordinating these efforts. And I learned that in 10 years, this city had reduced child death by 60% in 10 years. And they had done it with 1 penny per resident per day, 1 penny per resident per day. And I flashed back to that last hour we spent with Adriana Aranja, who was the coordinator who now is spreading this approach throughout Brazil. And I said to her, Adriana, do you know how out of step you are? You know, the world is on this track saying the market can do no harm and government can do no good. And you're saying, actually, the city government is working together with the market? Do you realize, this is really risky when you started this? What were you thinking? So she went off in Portuguese, of which I don't understand a word. And I tried to be really respectful and not interrupt. But at one point, she started to tear up. And at that point, I interrupted her. I said to the interpreter, you've got to interrupt and find out why Adriana is tearing up. And so he did. And it turned out that at that point she said, yes, Francis. She said, I knew how out of step we were, and I knew how much hunger there is in the world. What I didn't know, and what upsets me so, is how easy it is to end it. And as I think of those words, it's very clear to me she didn't mean easy in any simple way. She meant that if we are able to shift our frame of possibility and to really say, okay, it's not possible to know what's possible, and to choose food as a right of citizenship, and then to see that we can work together to realize that through democratic accountability we can create a market that serves us, that is truly free, as so defined of our participation, that it is, in that sense, easy. So I would like then to end with the words of a poet I admire greatly, who says everything I've been trying to say to you tonight, but in much more beautiful language and much shorter. The poem is by Denise Levertov. It's called Beginners. We have only begun to love the earth. We have only begun to imagine the fullness of life. How can we tire of hope? So much is in bud. We have only begun to imagine justice and mercy. We have only begun to envision how it might be to live as siblings with beast and flower, no longer as oppressor. We have only begun to know the power that is ours if we would join our solitudes in a communion of struggle. So much is unfolding that must complete its gesture, so much is in bud. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.